Iowa Silver! The Lone Ranger rides again.
When family members gather in their hometowns for a reunion, it can be expected that one topic of conversation will be how the town has grown and changed. It's a different story for the Goodall family. When they gather for their annual reunion in Petersville, they are returning to a town that no longer exists. Petersville, Iowa was one of the hundreds of Iowa towns that faded from maps during the last century. Settled in the 1850s, its population peaked at only 55. Its only remaining landmark is Immaculate Conception Catholic Church, high on a hill overlooking the Clinton County farmland. 180 families attend Mass each week, but one Sunday each year, this Sunday, Mass is attended by only one family. Only Goodalls fill this service. The Goodall reunion begins with Mass in a parish the family helped found. 3 generations of Goodalls are buried in the cemetery next door, and each year the family returns to this church.
And so I suggested we have a family reunion, try to initiate one.
And I wrote the letter to all the people.
Right. And they came, and they're still coming.
150 Goodalls come each year, representing half of the branches of the family. They return each year to a town that doesn't exist physically anymore, but still exists emotionally.
I like knowing that I'm so connected to so many people. And when I started doing the research of the Goodall family, I had no idea that I had so many relatives. It appeared that I had maybe a half a dozen, and I discovered that I've got hundreds. So it's a reminder. It's a reminder of my roots, and it reminds me of my roots and my family.
Well, because I'm proud of my Irish heritage, and I've traced back the roots of my own grandfather and stuff, but his brothers and sisters and all of his relations are all right here where we're at now, and I know nothing about them, and so I come here to learn and to get everything I can, because I'd like to have all of this for my own family.
I see a lot of people who resemble me, lookalikes, you know, and you're always in love with people who look like you.
Part of every family reunion is the telling of stories about past generations, and the Goodalls have a doozy from 1902.
This town was called Quigley, and my grandfather Dennis heard that it wasn't registered in Iowa City, so he walked from here to Iowa City and registered the town as Goodall. And then he came back to the Olney Tavern, and he told everybody. So somebody ran out to Quigley's farm, and 2 of the Quigleys came in and challenged him to a fight, and they fought till midnight. And Father Peter O'Dowd, a new priest from Ireland, was his first day here, stopped the fight, and the next day they went back to Iowa City and registered the town as Petersville, which it still is. And that's gospel truth.
Settled when Iowa was the frontier of America, Petersville benefited from the crush of immigrants from Europe escaping famine, disease, and social unrest. Immigrants from New England, searching for opportunity in the West, tripled Iowa's population in the 1850s. Clinton County had 10 times the population in 1870 it had 20 years before. But Petersville never developed the commercial trade that other towns did, and the lack of non-farm work gave people little incentive to stay. Several generations lived in the Goodall house, but most left, hoping for better futures in other towns or in other states, making the same leap of faith that Arthur Goodall made when he left Ireland in 1840. Arthur helped form the parish the Goodalls now worship in. His son Dennis helped name the town. 6 generations later, emotional immigrants swell the town for one day.
All our ancestors are buried right out there in that cemetery.
3 generations of Goodalls are buried in Petersville. Walking the graves of ancestors with your family recalls the sacrifices made to create a society on the prairie. The relationships between families were imperative then and evident today.
We're coming back to the same area that he settled and raised a family and assisted in developing a community here. And so it's real fun, and then to be surrounded by these monuments, these grave markers, tells a story in terms of the families and And in the work that I had done, you can see the Amaras living not too far on a farm from the Goodalls, and you see what a big, but close, a community it was. So, so that's always, it's just heartful to be back at the place where my great-grandfather and grandmother settled.
Like every American family, the Goodalls arrived from somewhere else, built, branched out, moved to another place, and built again. Yet despite this push to create the new, it's important to return to what is old and familiar to ground us with our past. Reunions remind us how we are connected to our neighbors and our communities.
Come back here for the Goodall reunion. I've heard about it many times, and I always want to come to this reunion, and I finally made it, and it's the greatest thing I've ever been to. It really is.